Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to another Knicks Media live stream. And today I'm joined by my buddy John, and we're going to be talking about game number one and what went right and recapping all of that beautiful game on Saturday night. Then we're going to pivot to preview game number two and how the New York Knicks can get to 2-0 on the series. John, welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me here. We are in great spirits right now. The vibes are immaculate, not only for the New York Knicks, but all over the NBA playoffs right now. I mean, talk about great vibes, man. All we were wishing for the last 20 years as a point guard, we finally got him, and we've been redeemed in game one, man. Just think about the difference between this year's game one and the last time we were in the playoffs, the Hawks game one when it was in the Garden. I mean, the drastic difference. It's just so good to be right here, right now, man.
No, it really is, bro. Like 2 years ago, we were the ones that were home. We lost game number one. You flip it around, we're away. We're stealing game number one on the road. It feels freaking great, man. So we got a really fun show coming your way right here. So let's jump right into it, John. Game number one. We saw a very interesting game. Very intense, physical, defensive-minded, gritty dogfight, just to the point where you can tell that this series is going to go the distance. Probably game 6 to probably game 7, if we're being honest. Hopefully it's 4, right? That's what we're hoping for. But realistically speaking...
I was told Knicks in 3.
Oh, okay. Knicks in 3... Knicks in 3 works too. I mean, sign me the hell up for that. But overall, man, what was your impressions of that game before we get deep into the, nitty gritty of individual performances and stuff? What was your thoughts of the intensity level and the energy you saw from the Knicks in their first playoff game?
Well, listen, the one fact we had was the Knicks took 3 of 4 against the Cavs during the year. Then we had the first worry was what's going to happen with Randall. Right, so he's coming off the injury. He hasn't played in a while. Knicks come off to a hot start, and I'm grinning from ear to ear, like we've actually came to play. There's no nervousness here. And then the first thing hit the fan where they took Randall out for Obi, which was weird, and also the 2 quick fouls on Brunson. So I was like, all right, here we go. Like Randall's not ready. Brunson's out on foul trouble. So all that point guard stuff, he's gonna be out of this game. And Randall, he's not going to be able to be good this game or maybe this series. Like, that's my quick overreaction. But honestly, man, this team, these last 2 weeks have learned so much. They have really learned how to grind and how to play without Randall. So they were able to sustain, and they had a game plan, whether it was to guard Mitchell, whether it was to have 2 guards screen each other so they can get open, because we all knew that they wanted to double team Randall. So I really felt like there was almost like a coaching battle in the first half, just kind of seeing what's up. And I was telling you, my thoughts were, and I had everybody in my head, like everybody was living rent free in my head, where I was just waiting for Donovan Mitchell to go off. Like,
yeah, me too, dude.
Something in my brain, like just wait, don't say anything because it's gonna happen.
And he was hitting those shots early. You're just like, here we go. You're waiting for him to do it. And he did. I mean, he dropped 38 and we still won, which was a great sign. I mean, we knew that we're not going to stop Donovan Mitchell. It's about containing him and shutting down the rest of the team and being able to have somebody step up to kind of balance out that effort of Donovan Mitchell. And that was Jalen Brunson in the second half. And you mentioned it, man. The rotations was the first thing I noticed. What the heck is going on? We're used to seeing Julius Randle play the entire first quarter. We're used to seeing Jalen Brunson play the entire first quarter. Well, the factors of Julius Randle being on a bum ankle and Brunson having an 2 early fouls switched up the rotations. Obi Toppin's in with 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. What the heck is going on? And it worked. It really did. And I think that Tom Thibodeau did a phenomenal job just working the rotations and not like shortening the rotation. Like if you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, John, and look at how they manipulated their minutes, that's what we expect from Tom Thibodeau. All 4 of those players had like 40 plus minutes, and Donovan Mitchell, Mobley, Garland, and Jared Allen. They do not have depth, and that's the New York Knicks weapon. I made a whole video about it on my channel yesterday, that the bench is the key for the New York Knicks' success, and we're going to get into it, but there was a lot of players on this team that we're expecting more from that did not have good outings, like Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickley. And the good thing about this team, John, that Knicks fans are really starting to appreciate is even if 1 or 2 guys are not on their A game, it's okay because we have other players to step up in their void. We don't need all 9 clicking. As long as we have 3 of the 9 players playing their best basketball, it seems like they can grit out victories.
Dude, I mean, this team game where there's no individual player that we're leaning on, especially with, in my opinion, two all NBA players in Randall and Brunson, and with our, let's be real. Like RJ, he's our number 3 there. He had a tough game. The potential 6th man of the year, definitely, one of the 3 finalists. He had a tough game. Like, where did this one come from? You know what I mean? When you look at it, and then it's so funny because despite all the weird stuff in the beginning, if you look at the box score, it was a typical Knicks basketball game, right? Randall led the game with minutes. He had 19 points, a little less than his normal. Brunson led the team in points with 27. But the interesting one here, man, was Josh Hart with 33 minutes off the bench.
And he was honestly the MVP of the game. I mean, obviously, Jalen Brunson deserves his flowers for being clutch, but Josh Hart is the unsung hero of this entire team. The grit that he brings, the offensive rebounds, pushing it in transition, that clutch shot right when we feel like the Knicks are just slipping this game away and we thought that we just lost it. Josh Hart comes back, gets the Knicks the lead, and then Jalen Brunson takes over, hits 2 clutch shots. We get Julius Randle get the offensive rebound, and then Grimes hitting the 2 clutch shots. Doesn't matter that Donovan Mitchell's trying to get in his head. Quentin Grimes in his first playoff game of his life is saying no. So I want to give a quick shout out to the people in the live chat right now. We have Knicks fans from Brazil. Salute from Brazil. Our rebounds in the last game in the second unit were decisive factors in game 1. Knicks in 6, I believe. I love it. 51 rebounds for the Knicks to the 38 for Cavs. Our second chance plays helped a lot. So we knew that is our weapon. I'm pretty sure the Knicks are one of the better teams in the entire NBA with Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein, and throw in Josh Hart at crashing the offensive glass. So do you think that's a weapon that needs to work in our favor, is rebounding, getting those second chance opportunities for this Knicks team?
I mean, absolutely. The rebounds, especially the offensive rebounds, which has been pointed out here, were unbelievable, especially because we were capitalizing on the second chances as opposed to the Cavs, who, even if they were getting some boards, they weren't able to put the ball in the basket, which I know sounds very simple, very, very elementary, but that's what wins these little ball games. I mean, it was so close at the end. I know we're still kind of talking how the game progressed, but it's going to get close at the end no matter what. Even if we're up by a lot, they're going to go on a run. Even if they're up, we're going to go on a run. It's going to be cardiac Knicks in the fourth quarter. Every single game of this series, and potentially almost every game in the playoffs here. That's my opinion. And all these nitty-gritty things by our centers are going to matter. For me, I was a little worried about how Evan Mobley was playing against Mitch Robinson in the beginning. He was knocking down buckets. I was like, here we go. Like, they're going to stretch out Mitch. They're going to make him, his skills a little bit diminished. We're going to have too much Hartenstein because of it. And I was a little bit worried about dynamic of kind of getting out-coached there. But Mitchell Robinson stepped up, and if you go back and rewatch that game, you see Randall legit throwing elbows at Evan Mobley every single time that he can, especially during free throws. He's a big boy, Julius Randle. I mean, he's bodying Evan Mobley. So I was hyped about that. The only thing is there is some fool's gold, right? Like, there is, as bad as we were. I mean, Rubio had a terrible game. Who usually plays pretty good against us. Evan Mobley shot terribly after he was so hot in the beginning. Went 4 for 13. Where was he hot, right? Like, he had the first 3 or 4 shots, and then he just did not make a basket for the rest of the game. So I am a tiny bit worried. Do you think this? We all know about the guards, and we'll get into the guards and Donovan Mitchell. But do you think their Allen Mobley game is gonna give us a little bit of issue because they can maybe stretch us, or do you think we actually line up pretty good because of Julius Randle's way of, guarding the power forward and sometimes managing the centers?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Shout out to Earl. Thank you for showing the support on the channel. Appreciate you, Earl. And I think Julius Randle really let his presence be felt immediately by simply being more physical and just showing Evan Mobley oh, you're the defensive player of the year. I don't care. I'm going to come at you with a bruising mentality. And don't forget, Julius Randle, when he was drafted, that's what he was. A low post scorer in the paint. He had no perimeter game, and he developed into that type of player. So I think, the Twin Towers or whatever you want to call about this Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, front court, I think that a lot of people were blowing it up, and they're very talented. Jarrett Allen and Mobley will get theirs for sure. But I think that what we saw on Saturday showed that the Knicks stack up well against them, because the Cavaliers are one of the better defensive teams in the entire NBA. But guess what? Not against the Knicks. those 4 games, they didn't play well defensively against the Knicks. So yeah, they might have success around the NBA, but not against the New York Knicks because I think they match up very well against them. I like Julius Randle against Evan Mobley. I like Mitchell Robinson against Jarrett Allen. And I think that defensively speaking, they're going to be able to contain them both. And then offensively as well, I think that the Knicks are really showing that what they have over the Cavaliers is a sense of physicality. And that's all the Cavaliers are talking about in the media now. Oh, we have to start punching them first. Oh, the refs this. You see the clip of Julius Randle completely obliterating Evan Mobley after a free throw attempt to box him out. Just the little things like that go a long way in a playoff series. And I think the Knicks setting the tone early in game 1 is going to do a lot of wonders for the New York Knicks. Now, a talking point I do want to mention, unfortunately, John, that we heard today is that Josh Hart is dealing with a sprained ankle, and he is questionable for tomorrow's game. So we just talked about he's the unsung hero. He's the MVP of game number 1, right? How can the Knicks manage to get a game 2 victory, hypothetically, with Josh Hart out? Do you think Deuce McBride is going to be up in the 9-man rotation and they're going to really utilize his defense, or is Thibodeau going to stick to an 8-man rotation? Also, who needs to step up in place of Josh Hart? Obviously, Emmanuel Quickley needs to. RJ Barrett needs to. So how do you think this Knicks team would look without Josh Hart playing on Tuesday night, potentially?
I mean, that's a really good question. Corey Lindsley in the comments has the same exact question as you. We're all a little bit shaken, all a little bit worried about the fact that Josh Hart, our X Factor, our unsung hero, who was limping for what felt like the entire second half, but it was just like the fourth quarter of that game, and still played the second most minutes by 1 minute over under Randle. What's going to happen without him? The answer is, man, you already kind of hinted at it in the beginning of the show. The team is a cohesive unit. When Josh Hart is going to be down, that means that RJ Barrett has to step up. IQ has to step up offensively, right? We all were enamored yesterday by that Russell Westbrook game. If you stayed up, for that West Coast game, he shot terribly. He made RJ Barrett look like Ray Allen yesterday. And they both have the same mentality where at least they're going to step up on defense. RJ Barrett made the comment about Garland, right? He's like, I know that I struggled a little bit on offense, but I made up with it on the defense. We're going to need you to step up a little bit more on the offense. Randle, I mean, he didn't have his typical game, of course, on the points. But he did take his normal 10 threes. So he's still going to take his 10 threes. Hopefully he makes more than 3. He's going to. The Knicks are going to step up. I just wonder if – listen, man, it's the playoffs. It's hard for a road team bench to really get up on the road. That's why Josh Hart was unbelievable yesterday. So do I think we're going to add Deuce McBride to maybe manage? I don't know if that's really effective. I think what's more effective is to keep IQ in for a little – make his 24 minutes up to 30. You know what I mean? Just like kind of move everybody up a little. Obi Toppin, 14 minutes, even though he played the first quarter. That's unbelievable. You know what I mean?
And a good impact. It was a plus 12.
He played really well, and that is able to step up. Maybe we could play some small ball, but I don't know. I'm gonna piggyback that off you. So I don't know if McBride is the answer there, but do you think it's more of we have to kind of get Jarrett Allen off his game more by kind of moving Obi, Obi and Randle to, back to the same question of maybe Obi and Randle in a small ball lineup real quick to mess with them because Allen obviously can't play outside. Like, I don't know. I don't really know how to manage it, but it's going to start with RJ Barrett.
Yeah, I think it all starts with RJ as well. But to the small lineup point, I don't think Thibodeau will feel comfortable not having one of Mitchell Robinson or Isaiah Hartenstein on the floor, because especially Isaiah Hartenstein is another player that deserves love, man. He had a big impact. He led the Knicks, I believe, in plus minus. He had plus 19. He was an absolute stud. But I do quickly want to say, before we go any further in today's show, please do your boy a gigantic favor and please hit that like button if you're just tuning in. We are live talking about game 1. We're about to get into game number 2 as well to really talk about how the Knicks can escape Cleveland to go up 2-0. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in to the Knicks Media Live show. Whether you're watching it live or you're watching on replay, do your boy a solid and simply hit that thumbs up button. So let's transition into RJ Barrett, John, because definitely he is going to be an X factor for this game. So in game number 2, this is my preview. These are my keys to victory. And I have IQ and RJ grouped together. So we'll start off with those two right there. RJ Barrett did not have a good game offensively. He started off the game phenomenal defensively. I think he had 2 steals in the first minute. And Emmanuel quickly had no field goals. If I told you that RJ Barrett has 7 points and IQ is 0 for 5, do you think the Knicks are going to win that game? No way.
Man.
No way.
3 points for Emmanuel quickly.
It's ridiculous. And not off a field goal, off 3 free throws. The fact, and it's like a positive and a negative at the same time, because the fact that the Knicks could win without both of those players not having a bad game, but literally atrocious games offensively and still pulling out that dub with Donovan Mitchell dropping 38, that tells you a lot about this team. So what does both RJ Barrett, we'll start off with RJ and then we'll talk about quickly afterwards, but what does RJ Barrett need to do? Because I personally believe it's all about hitting his perimeter jump shot, because that opens things up. I do want to see him attack the paint and get aggressive. I don't really think he had a lot of opportunities just in terms of getting to his strong hand, getting into the cup, doing his layups. That's where RJ really gets in rhythm, when he gets aggressive, attacking the paint. But he also needs to start hitting his perimeter jump shot. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for him when there's catch and shoot wide open threes, and he's got to knock those down, because the offense is not going to be ran through RJ. It's going to be ran through Brunson. It's going to be ran through Randall, and that's okay. So when RJ does get his opportunities and pick and roll and catch and shoot from 3, he's got to capitalize offensively, because he's our third option. He is. He averaged 19 points per game, and he's got to step it up, and he's going to be a big reason if we win this series if he does.
I mean, I agree with you in theory. Yes, he's going to be open for threes, and he has to hit them. And if he does, we're going to actually upset Cleveland and come to New York 2-0, which seems absolutely absurd. If you just say that out loud. So let's just step back for a second. I don't know about you, Richie, but I'm a little bit cringing every time RJ shoots a 3. And I get
it doesn't look smooth. Yeah, there's something up with his shot.
So I would way rather him just attack the paint, right? Get to the paint, get the layup. He can finish at the rim sometimes, right? There's games where he can't miss, right next to the rim, and there's games where he can't make a layup at all, right? So I think tomorrow he's going to step up. I have confidence in him. And I want him to take less threes and just get the ball in the paint, get them in foul trouble, because you see what foul trouble does to a team. You saw what it did to us. Like, you see what happens if Garland's in foul trouble tomorrow, right? And that's more valuable than him pulling a 3, missing, long rebound, which turns into transition. And that was really bothering me about game 1. Like, dude, you can't hit the 3 right now. Just get it inside. You know who does that? Quentin Grimes. I know they're on different levels, right? But Quentin Grimes, when he knows he can't hit his 3, when it's not falling, he pump fakes, dribble in. You know what I mean? He's ready to kick it out right away. He's not going to try to finish at the rim, really, unless he has an open spot. But RJ looks for contact. So if you're asking me what does RJ need to do, he needs to stick with his defense. He's been amazing on defense. He's not a negative player. You know what I mean? He's a good player because of his defense, because of his intangibles. If he just gets to the rim, and shout out to the New York Knicks for going almost 90% from the free throw line. That's not a New York Knicks team I'm used to. So
yeah, dude.
Get to the paint, dude. Get to the paint. Get to the fouls. They want to call fouls. We're hitting our free throws, and we're not hitting our threes. You know what I mean?
And it is true, because RJ has been struggling from 3, not even just a Saturday, but through this entire season. I mean, he finished at 31%. And in that game against the Pacers, I believe, he had 28 points, 0 of 9 from 3. So you can imagine if he hit 3 threes, that's a 35-point game right there. So I think you're right, man. He's got to get aggressive and go downhill, especially if we're talking about a team without Josh Hart, because someone's going to have to fill in the void of Josh Hart. And I think that one player is RJ Barrett. Now, they're completely different players. But I think RJ can fill the void in terms of rebounding, playing defense, getting into the passing lanes, attacking downhill, pushing the pace in transition. Those are the things that RJ Barrett can do, and he has to step up, man, because we cannot ask Jalen Brunson to be superhero. That's the one thing about this team that is awesome, that we can have deep players, we can have depth, and other guys can step up. If all of a sudden we turn into a one-dimensional squad of just asking Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle to be heroes, then it's really going to crumble. So I'm looking at RJ Barrett. But now let's transition into Emmanuel quickly, because he's another player who stunk. I mean, not only did he not score, but he had a lot of turnovers early on where the playoff energy kind of got to him. Now, I'm not concerned about Emmanuel quickly. I think that it was playoff jitters, and quickly, he gets very worked up in a positive way, a lot of built up energy, and just I think his mind was going way too fast, and his mind and body weren't connected. So I think for Emmanuel quickly, you just got to get comfortable and hit a shot early on, because if he can start taking over games like he did all throughout the season, that's going to change the whole dynamic of the series. And I still cannot believe, I come back to the same point, that RJ and IQ combined did not do anything offensively, and even throwing Grimes besides those 2 free throws, and we still were able to win. So that's really awesome. So what do you think Emmanuel quickly needs to do? And everybody in the chat, let me know as well. What did you see from Emmanuel quickly that you think that he needs to improve on in game number 2? Because not only did not shoot the ball well, but he was turning the ball over as well.
Yeah, I mean, he had a majority of the Knicks turnovers at one point in this game. But the difference with IQ is we know what IQ brings to the table. We've watched it year after year, but this year especially, game after game. And he's come up clutch no matter who's in the lineup. So we have faith in him. And so we were talking about Josh Hart before. Yes, he said his ankle is good. And yes, he was limited in practice today, meaning he didn't actually practice. He just kind of worked on his ankle. So even if he does play, which he seems like the kind of player where he's gonna dress and he's gonna play some minutes, the luxury that we have is the potential 6th man of the year in IQ. We know that he can step up, and he could, like, Josh Hart was 8 for 11 and he had 17 points. IQ could easily get 20 points, and his threes are way more deflating than Josh Hart layups. You know what I mean? In the paint, and that he controls the ball. I don't anticipate 2 games in a row where Jalen Brunson is in foul trouble. However, I did notice some comments from the Cavs, which is always to make a comment to the league without getting fined, talking about how Brunson is embellishing a little bit, getting him. They call it "quote unquote" tricks. He's doing all these tricks where he's getting in the front. He's getting too many offensive calls. They're insinuating that he's flopping.
Right, he had 4 free throws, bro. I mean, what are you talking about? The man shot the ball from the free throw line 4 times.
So I think there's just a little bit more upset about the offensive foul calls, which refs love to call in the playoffs, kind of like college basketball March Madness style. But yo, IQ, man, this is his game to step up, and because we know it's gonna happen with IQ off the bench, and because we at least have some insinuation that Hart's gonna be limited, it really falls on RJ Barrett, man. If RJ Barrett steps up and he just plays decently, like just decently, if you can't hit the shot, man, just get into transition, get the foul, kick it out. You know, Grimes can hit that 3 when he's open. They are doing this double guard screen, which has been really effective with them, because the Cavs want to double Randall. So they're kind of doing a double screen with the guards to kind of get Garland on the move and give it to RJ. So really, RJ Barrett is going to be the X factor of game 2 in Cleveland. We don't win game 2 Cleveland without RJ Barrett stepping up. It's an absolute fact.
And I agree, and he can get you a 25 game. Like, he's proven to do that. I mean, how many times have we seen RJ Barrett stink for a week, and everyone's like saying, get this guy out of here, and then he comes out there and has 3 straight like baller games. That's been RJ Barrett's career, and that's to the point where we're all like, if is he ever going to find his consistency of stringing a whole season together like that, instead of doing it in little increments? So now's the time to throw that game 1 to the curb, RJ. Keep the defense, but now let's get aggressive on offense to start finishing at the rim and really help out this team, man. But we're talking a lot about the negatives with this team. Let's just quickly appreciate what we did have in Jalen freaking Brunson. Because Jalen Brunson played 9 minutes in the first half and still finished with a 27-point bomb. I mean, that man, John, I'm 25 years old. He's the best point guard of my lifetime as a Knicks fan. I mean, he is absolutely sensational. At the end of the game, we easily could have lost that. Like, so fast. We just crumble. 10-point lead, gone. The Cavaliers take over. That every single Knicks fan across the world is thinking the same thing. Same old Knicks. We're going to crumble the lead. Again, we should have had. There it is. Welcome for New York Knicks. Welcome for Jalen Brunson. I love it, man. Oh, yeah, you were there for the welcome.
This is the day, man.
Where we signed him?
The official day. And honestly, you know, I'm so glad that we'll talk about a little bit of Brunson's game here. But first of all, if you notice, the last 2 people that we are talking about, that everybody's calling the reasons why we won this game, is Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson. Josh Hart, the trade midway through the season, and Jalen Brunson, the man we signed in the offseason.
They weren't here last year.
If Leon Rose is not the executive of the year, I don't know what else to do, man. Everything has changed. We've never seen a point guard on the Knicks in our lifetime control the way that Brunson's able to control. And the way he's able to honestly slice and dice the Cleveland Cavaliers defense all season long. I mean, that's the thing, Rich. I know they have Donovan Mitchell. I know he's dropping 40 a game, but we beat them every single time. They beat us once. You know what I mean? Like, and it's because of Brunson. It's because we're able to get through. And honestly, it's because Randall is able to own the big men. He is. And dude, Mitchell Robinson is stepping up, dude. Listen. Yes, we hate on RJ Barrett as a fan base. Fine, I'll give that to you.
Oh yeah, look at the chat right now.
But nobody gets hate or is kind of ignored like Mitchell Robinson. The first person, anytime anything goes wrong, is Mitch Robinson this, Mitch Robinson, dude. He steps up and he
did.
Cares, right? Because his stats.
He shut down Mobley, bro. He shut down Mobley in the paint.
Like he had 6 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, no blocks. Like that just looks like any random player in the league. He is so essential to this defense. He is so essential to getting in front of Jared Allen.
100%.
Frustrating the hell out of them. Pick and rolls, pick and pops. He opens it up. He has the off-ball screens. I mean, there's nothing else to say. But this is an actual Knicks team.
Team, baby.
It's a team.
Big 15. Randall should have saved that Big 15 quote for now.
I don't know about
Big 9.
Yeah, Big 9.
Even though we do it, like, hey, shout out Jericho Sims, shout out Deuce McBride. Like, we still got Fournier getting paid 15 mil. Like, what up, D Rose? I don't know. This team is D. We're not going to get that deep into the rotation, but I could not agree more with your talks on Mitchell Robinson, and throw in Isaiah Hartenstein as well, leading the Knicks in plus minus at plus 19. The big men step up, man. They set the screens. They get the offensive rebounds. I mean, that offensive rebound that Hartenstein had in the clutch was key to the victory as well. That led Jalen Brunson to get the ball back and get that lay-in with a minute to go to extend the lead to 3 points for the New York Knicks. And my last point about Brunson, man. What this Knicks team lacked 2 years ago in the playoffs was a closer. And that's exactly what Jalen Brunson is. Because the fact that we were able to pull away this victory after completely collapsing, with the Cavaliers taking all the momentum away and them taking the lead, and then Josh Hart hits that clutch shot, and then it's Jalen Brunson time. 3 straight isolations. First one, mid-range bucket. Absolutely clutch. Like, wow. Like, that's what stars do. Like, it's the playoffs. A minute left. Clutch times. Can you go get us a bucket? Isolation. He did that. And then the second opportunity he had, Isaiah Hartenstein got that offensive rebound. Just alluded to it. Goes to his left. Finishes the layup. Beautiful. His third chance, he misses, but guess what? Julius Randle's there for the offensive rebound to secure the dub. So you cannot ask enough of Jalen Brunson to be poised and calm, collected, like a nice quarterback, just a veteran presence where it's like, oh, he doesn't get too rattled with the big moment. He doesn't care that the Cavaliers fans are going crazy and the Cavaliers just took all the momentum away. It doesn't feel like everything's collapsing. He's so relaxed, and it's kind of gave me as a Knicks fan some times to take a breath and feel at peace. Like, oh, I shouldn't be worried. We got Brunson, you know? It's like that anxiety that we have as a Knicks fan base of just collapsing because we don't have someone to run the show has gone away from me because of Jalen Brunson to organize and orchestrate late in games. And Julius Randle, he's a good closer, but he's not good by himself. He can't just do isolations and just get a shot. We saw what he did against the Heat with that crazy shot for the win. We get all that. But we need Jalen Brunson, and he's the reason why we can close out games. And I'm so freaking happy that he is a New York Knick. And he deserves a love, man. He really does, because he's the difference. And shout out Josh Hart as well. Shout out Leon Rose. Shout out Villanova, baby. Let's go. So before we go any further in the show, man, I want to get into a Q&A, and I want to get into the chat and really interact with you guys. But before we do that, I do want to give a big time shout out to the sponsor of Knicks Media, which is indeed BetUS. Now, you guys know BetUS. They're the official sportsbook sponsor of Knicks Media. And as you guys know, the New York Knicks, they are the underdogs on the sportsbook still for game number 2. Even after getting game number 1, the Knicks are the underdog again for game number 2. So let's get into BetUS. And if you guys want to download BetUS, you can click that link down below in the description, and you can sign up for BetUS with a $50 free deposit, or free money without even having to make a deposit. So here's just an example of the odds that they got on BetUS based on the game. So what you got, John?
I mean, listen, I can't go against the Knicks, and I've been saying Knicks in 6 this entire time, which means that the Knicks are going to win 4-2, which, as you see here, has moved down, but it's now at plus 550. I mean, that's the bet for me. I'm sticking to it. I love that Bleacher Report is doing hashtag Knicks for clicks right now, throwing in the Knicks in 3 stuff. I still think it's going to be Knicks in 6, and I love the plus 550 odds. What do you like to see here, man?
I think Knicks in 6 is it as well, man. I really, really do. I think Knicks in 6 has been the mantra for a lot of Knicks fans heading in, and that's going to be at the Garden. So I'm right there with you. At plus 550, you get great value. And if you sign up using the code, you get $50 for free without even having to make a deposit. So make sure you guys check out BetUS. We appreciate them for checking out and sponsoring Knicks Media. And also feel free to make a bet on just a straight up game. If you don't want to predict when they're going to win and how many games, you can predict on one game, make a little parlay. So we do appreciate BetUS for sponsoring Knicks Media. So let's get deeper into game number 2, John. I think a key piece to this Knicks team and against the Cavaliers in general, we saw it 2 weeks ago when we beat them, and Donovan Mitchell brought it up himself, and that's transition. You see, one of the keys I have is transition. And what I mean by that is offensively pushing the pace. Now, Obi Toppin is the best for that. But I think that the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are a very good defensive team, struggle when their defense is not set and when they're on their heels. And I also noticed that even on a made shot from the Cavs, the Knicks inbound it quickly and they're running. And they want to get that easy bucket quickly. And that's something that you got to give Tom Thibodeau credit for, because that's something where he's evolving as a head coach to stay with the modern day NBA. I personally think that the Knicks offensive rhythm flows better when they're playing fast and playing with high octane energy. And that also starts with Josh Hart pushing the pace, Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett. It's like whoever gets the rebound, you run. And then you get shooters sprayed out to the corners, and you have someone cutting to the rim and the same guy with the ball, and try to make something happen quick and not rely on a half-court offense too much. So what's your thoughts of the Knicks in transition? Do you think that's a big-time thing that they should continue to try to keep them in fast pace and rhythm and try to just kind of outpace and just kind of make the Cavs like run down a little bit? That's how I like to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And that's where Hartenstein makes his money, and that's where Obi gets out into transition. Well, once the other team shoots, Obi's already at the 3-point line of the other side of the
cherry
court.
picking.
He's ready. Exactly. He's cherry picking. IQ. He wants to get the ball downhill as fast as possible. And honestly, so does Jalen Brunson. Those guys are the pacemakers. The other side of that is Randall and RJ that like to kind of slow the game down a little bit, right? So it's nice to have both sides of that. We have the transition game, and we also have the isolation game. Right? We have in the comments Hennessy Heisman saying he didn't like the isolation ball in the last 5 minutes of the game. But on the other hand, you pointed out that that's exactly where Brunson was able to shine. Right? It's going to get tight in the last couple minutes of every single playoff game. We're going to need isolation ball, and now we don't just give it to Randall with 8 seconds left to just watch him cook. You know what I mean? There's Jalen Brunson who actually, jackknifes through the defense, kicks it out, gets the foul, does the fadeaway. We have a little bit more trust in it. So the transition is what keeps us in the middle of the game. That's what keeps us going. However, man, sometimes there's not a lot of transition if Donovan Mitchell is going to drop 40, 50, 60 on us. You know what I mean? So we do have to step up the defense on the top of the key because, dude, they missed a lot of shots. Like, we're talking about IQ missing shots and RJ missing shots. Mobley went 4 for 13. Mitchell went 6 for 16 from 3. I mean, he could hit some more of those. Okoro went 0 for 4 from 3. So they also are looking for a better game. Their backs are legit against the wall, right? So they're kind of feeling exactly like we did against the Hawks, right? That's the last playoff series. It was game 2 at home. We're like, yo, we have to win this game. Like, this is it. We can't go on the road down 0-2. Especially to a team they lost now 4 out of 5 times. They can't. And
then we did win, and then we thought, oh, we're back. And then we lost all 3 from then on out. But listen, man.
I'll be honest with you, Richie. Realistically, I know I'm an eternal optimist right now. I know you are especially the biggest optimist around. And I want the Knicks to win game 2. But with Josh Hart a little hobbled and the Cavs, back against the wall, this might be the game that they're able to steal. Of course, I'm going to be at the Garden for every single home game, no matter how far we go.
Yeah,
If they are in the Garden 2-0 on Friday night Knicks, I mean, with game 3 and game 4, and game 4 is Sunday 1 p.m. I mean, we're throwing a parade already, like on 7th Ave. So I'm with you, but realistically, I am worried about game 2, man. I really am.
Yeah, and we also have to realize that it's a freaking playoff series, and the Cavaliers are going to win one of these games. I mean, a sweep would be fantastic, but realistically speaking here, we're the underdogs, right? We are the underdogs. The Cavaliers are the better team heading into this series, and we got game 1. And if we lose game number 2, I don't want Knicks fans to start panicking either. I think that we had to get one of these games in Cleveland to start off the series. The first 2 games, if you're on the road, you could take back home court advantage by winning one of those games. That's exactly what the Knicks did. I'm not saying that we should go into it with the loser's mentality. Like, all right, we got game 1. We don't need game 2. But I'm just saying that, like, there's going to be a game in this series where Donovan Mitchell just becomes unstoppable to the point where he drops 45 plus. And it's like, what more can you do? Like, that's going to happen. There's going to be a game where we get a little cold. And that's why playoff series go to 7. And I honestly think, I know we're saying Knicks in 6, but I have a feeling, man, this is going to go to 7, bro. I just feel like this is such a tight, I don't think any game's going to be a blowout. I think every game's going to come down to the wire. Who makes the clutch shot? Who makes the biggest plays? And it's going to be a battle, man. And I have a little worrisome about tomorrow night, not going to lie, with Josh Hart hobbled a little bit, with their back against the walls in Cleveland. Like, if the Knicks win, then yeah, we're talking about a completely different series, man, because then we have a sweep opportunity at home.
It's almost good to be true.
I'm going to the game on Sunday, and I cannot freaking wait. So we talked about the Knicks in transition, but another talking point I want to talk about, which I felt like it was just so beautiful to see, because it's embodying the spirit of the Knicks and the ancestors that came before this team, and that's the physicality. The physicality that this Knicks team plays with, man, you could just feel the 90s Knicks live within them in their own modern twist, right? They're not the 90s Knicks, but you feel like Julius Randle, bro. I think Julius Randle is just like stealing the hearts of Knicks fans everywhere, right? It's been a roller coaster with him throughout his career with the Knicks, but seeing his effort out there, it's never in question. I mean, you could tell this man is putting everything out there to just win for this team, putting his body on the line, throwing haymakers. You saw that little skirmish he got into with Mitchell. He came out there with a smile on his face, and he turned into a villain for a little bit. I'm loving the physicality, and that's what, and this isn't a new thing, by the way. All season long, we heard from opposing coaches when we versed them that, oh, the Knicks play more physical. We got to get better on the glass. We got to start boxing out. They're really getting hands on us. They're getting away with calls. That's the Tom Thibodeau mold, baby. And I think that Knicks fans need to embody that. Not saying we don't, but I think that's a part of this team that is becoming like our identity of just outworking opponents and just making sure that when it gets into the fourth quarter, they're feeling it. They're feeling bruised. They're just, it's like a gauntlet out there when you verse the Knicks. And just wait till we get back to the Garden. It's going to get even more. So what's your thoughts of the physicality of this Knicks team? Because it really showed up in the playoffs, man.
That's how we beat the Cavs every single time already. That's literally every single game this season. You go back and watch. That is how we beat them, through physicality. We didn't beat them through shooting, really. IQ did get hot one of the times, so I am kind of banking on that. If it comes in game 2, that would be unbelievable. I mean, think about this. If RJ Barrett could handle Garland, I honestly don't think the Cavs stand a chance, right? If Randle is able to frustrate Evan Mobley game 1 in every game, I don't think they have a chance. So your point's already been proven. We can win without shooting as long as we have the physicality attached. And so my question to you is, what needs? I mean, we're so positive in this game, but to be honest with you, it feels results based, because if we would have gave away that lead in the fourth quarter, especially it was like a 7-0 run, that would have been like a 13-0 run, and not that crazy, right? Like just a couple more baskets, and we would have been, on our hands and knees right now. Like, we blew game 1, they're gonna win game 2. Now back to game 3. So
the opposite.
Exactly. So let's step back for a second and kind of be a little more realistic. What needs to happen for you this game that you would panic? Honestly, like let's a little bit on the negative side. Like what like if we have the same game as we did last time and we lost, I'll be fine with it. I'd be like, listen, man, we had it the whole way. It's all good. They just took one at home. It's not a problem. But if again RJ's playing bad, if IQ again is not getting it together, if Randle is kind of has the same exact game that he had. Obi's still playing 14 minutes, and Josh Hart looks hobbled. I'm gonna start getting a little bit worried, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think what travels is that physicality, is that defense. Like every single game, that could be an impact because every single game, your shooters are not going to hit your shots. And I think that's what the mold of this Knicks team is you're not going to be able to hit freaking like 40% from three every single time as a team. So when you shoot crappy from three, like the team did on Saturday night, you win with your defense and your physicality. So that's what travels. That's what needs to be the focus every single time. And that's what it will be with the Tom Thibodeau-led head coach team. But to your point, on the negative side, I think if RJ continues to stink offensively, if Emmanuel quickly is whatever reason just not be able to step up in the playoffs, and we're just like Brunson has a good game, but it's not good enough, and Randall has a solid game. And another thing, if Donovan Mitchell goes crazy, like even better than game number one, say he drops 40 plus, I'll definitely get a little concerned because that means RJ's really in a funk. That means Emmanuel Quickly's still in a funk. And that means we can't rely all on Jalen Brunson to be the hero. We need Randall to step up and give us 30 maybe a couple of times. So I think defensively speaking, how can we contain Donovan Mitchell a little bit more? I don't think it's possible because he hit some shots, dude, where you're just like, how do you defend that? You don't. It's impossible to defend that. Step back, hand in his face from like, it feels like 50 feet away, and he cashes it, right? It's just like, how do you stop him? And I think this is how you stop Donovan Mitchell. Want to hear it?
I'm ready.
You don't. You balance it out with another player on your offense to do the same thing. And that's Jalen Brunson. That's how I look at it. Because it's like impossible. You could blitz, you could double, you can get the ball out of his hands. And I think they did that a couple possessions where they forced the Cavaliers to not allow Donovan Mitchell to get the ball. Similar things that the Cavs were doing against the Knicks with Jalen Brunson. But that's what we need. If Donovan Mitchell's going crazy, we need Brunson to go crazy to balance it out. And we need Julius Randle to step up physically down low and also hit his shots from downtown. But if you're asking me what's going to make me panic, RJ still stinking it up, Quickly still stinking it up. The team overall is not shooting well, and Donovan Mitchell goes crazy. That I'll get a little concerned. But if we have a similar game to Saturday, and the Cavs are the one that made the more plays at the end, and they win, and the series is 1-1, I'll be like, let's go. This is a series, man. This is gonna go 6, might go 7.
All right. I mean, okay. Let me. I'm probably skipping ahead a little bit, but what's your actual prediction to Game 2? What do you actually? Not what you want. Now, we all want the Knicks to go to be a blowout in the first quarter, never look back, and be 2-0. We all want the same thing, but what do you realistically think is going to happen Game 2?
Yeah, man. I think I honestly think the Cavaliers are going to be controlling the game throughout it, and I think it's going to be up to the Knicks to pull off a comeback. Now, I don't think they're going to go down by 15 or 20, but I think the Cavs are going to set a tone early and kind of control. I think their shooters are going to get hot. Osman is a guy that can get hot. I think they have three-point shooters that were cold, and I think they're going to get a little better as a team because they're not one-dimensional with Donovan Mitchell. Even though it seemed that way, they have weapons. So I think it's going to be one of those games that's going to be an uphill battle for the Knicks. And I don't want to predict the Knicks L, but I think that it comes down to the fourth quarter. Can the Knicks go on a surge and really try to fight from behind and just steal another win? Because it's going to be really difficult for the Knicks to steal 2 wins on the road against Cleveland, if we're being honest, man.
Yeah, I like the positivity without putting any actual negative statements into the ether. So I'm with you there. So I'm going to transition into how do you think IQ and RJ are going to play in this scenario?
Yeah, in this scenario, I really think that if Josh Hart's down,
if he's limited, let's say he plays Obi minutes, 14 minutes.
Yeah, man, I don't know if RJ's such a wild card for me, dude, because it's like, I have so much optimism for him to bounce back, and he won't, and then sometimes he does, and it just comes down to him getting his mind right, bro. Getting his mind right and just attacking the paint, getting to his game, and then quickly just slowing things down. So hypothetically, I can't imagine them doing anything worse than what they did Saturday. So I think they're going to have a little better of a game with that hypothetical scenario that I mentioned. So it's just I think defensively is going to be the Knicks' struggle.
So it does. I know this is maybe like an internet kind of question, maybe more of an actual basketball gameplay question, but with Josh Hart is kind of out of the equation, is RJ Barrett the X factor or is IQ the X factor? You know what I mean? Like if RJ plays bad again, could we still win? Or if IQ plays bad, can we still win? Or really?
I think it's one of those two needs to step up to win. I got confidence in Brunson and Randall to be their stars, because that's something that we need to mention. In playoffs, your stars need to step up. If your stars don't step up, you won't win. So just saying Brunson and Randall have good games, I think we just need one of two of IQ and RJ to step in. Either both of them would be great. But I think Quickly might be the bigger X factor over RJ for the sole reason of three-point shooting. Because I think the team struggled from beyond the arc. And I think IQ getting hot, especially when he comes in those games late in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, like he comes in at really good times that he can start taking over the game. And I think his three-point shooting kind of opens things up for this entire offense. Obviously, RJ getting downhill and being aggressive, getting and one opportunities, going to the foul line will be great. But if we're asking which one would be more of an X factor, I might have to lean Emmanuel Quickly, because he's coming off a very good season that he might win six-man player of the year, bro.
If this is the year, I mean, I know this is the New York Knicks media podcast we're talking about, we're in the playoffs, but if Garrett Wilson is winning or offensive awards, like we have the defensive player of the award, we have the six-man award. In my opinion, we should have executive award.
Most improved player, Brunson.
We also have maybe that Tibbs is getting coach of the year, some votes, not the actual award, but some votes. We might have.
He already won it.
We might have two players in the All NBA team. We might be the only team besides the Kings this year. We saw what the Aaron Fox and Sabonis are able to do. I mean, this is a good year. I mean, we have lots of positive vibes, and I don't see us throwing a parade if we win a couple of games here. I think we're starting to turn into a real franchise where we want to win an actual series, right? We're exercising more demons as we go, Richie. We got rid of we haven't won a road playoff game since 2013. Right now, we actually have to win a series. Right,
that's next, bro.
We have to. We cannot be. There's a lot of discourse about whether this is a successful season for the Knicks, right? Being where we were predicted at the beginning of the season to actually becoming a fifth seed, right? We're over that now. It was whether it's successful, whether we win a series or we don't. Is Donovan Mitchell? There's that whole narrative as well. We must win this series, Richie.
100%.
It's game one. I know only game one has been there. I'm not living in the moment here. We have to win this series. That's the only way. The only way we can progress as a franchise. Otherwise, we're going to be back in the same spot, man. We're going to be like, listen, we get there. We're a regular season team. We can play decent. But this team is it's not even good enough to win a series in the NBA. You know what I mean? That's where we were 2 years ago.
And I think the difference of 2 years ago, say we do lose the series, but it's in game 7, I think it might feel a little different just because we did not show up. We lost at 5 against the Hawks. Not trying to say that if we lose the series, it's anything good, but it will feel a little different if this goes the length, if this goes to game 7. Because if you think about it, if the Cavs do win the series, it probably will have to go to 7, right? Because we're up 1-0. So unless the Knicks just collapse and just lose, the next 4 of the 5 games and the Cavs win in 6, I don't see that happening. But you're right, man. We got to get to round 2. And that's been the narrative all season long during the regular season before we clinched the playoffs. It's like, we got to get to round 2. We got to the playoffs 2 years ago. Yes, sir. Finally. But now it's up to actually going into round number 2. And when we won that playoff game, man, I just want to speak as a Knicks fan, and I'm sure everybody in the chat can relate to this feeling. Of course, you as well, John, where it's like, we've been Knicks fans for our entire lives, and we watched so many bad seasons, and like this feeling of a playoff victory is what it's all about, of being a fan. It's like, it's why we watch marathon 82 game seasons, and we don't get to experience it. So my point is, like, as much as we want to live in the future and like we got to win this series, like after that game on Saturday night, I was like on a high, man. Like, we just won a damn playoff game. Game 1 on the road. Like, it feels so good. We put so much into this team as fans of just emotion and tears and just stress, anxiety with this team, especially the Knicks' sake of things, because they've not been good for a long time, where it's like, this is what it's like to win. And I'm just talking about game 1 of round 1 of the playoffs. Like, I can't even imagine it being a freaking, extended playoff run. But I just soak it in, Knicks fans. Like, we're in the playoffs. We're winning playoff games. We have a very young, deep team that's built through the draft organically, filled out beautifully in free agency with Brunson, acquisition in the trade market like Hart and Hartenstein for the free agent market, and Jalen and Julius Randle, and everybody else are draft picks. So, like, soak it in, man. This team is really good right now, but I think their future is even better. because we are stacked with draft picks. We have a lot of flexibility. Jalen Brunson's contract is the most bargain of a deal in NBA history. I mean, it's a descending deal. 29 mil this year. It goes to 27, then 25, then 23. So we can build add a star around Jalen Brunson. I don't want to start getting into that. Who's the missing piece to get the Knicks over the top? Because I want to live in today's world. But soak it in, man, because it's been a long time coming for Knicks fans, and just appreciate this playoff run, man. It's been a lot of fun.
I mean, Hemlock Rise is absolutely right. You are preaching right now to take it game by game. I mean, obviously, I was there when we celebrated game 2 as if we won the championship. I was standing a little far back. I was just like soaking it in. It did feel really good at the moment, but it did feel like a little bit of fool's gold. This just doesn't feel like that. It really feels like a team. And Richie, I am staying in the moment, okay? And in staying in the moment, I'm not looking ahead, but I'm not looking ahead. You feel me?
Oh, no, of course. We have to look ahead. We're in a freaking playoff series.
So I'm watching other playoff series, all right? And I know we're playing the winner of the 1 and the 8.
Uh-oh. And this is going.
And all I was saying before is, listen, just give me the round 1 against Donovan Mitchell. We already exercised the demons of Jalen Brunson. We already proved to everybody that was a good signing. We already proved that Tibbs is an actual good coach and that he should stay. We proved that our rotation is good. Like we proved a lot of things this year, right? So it's like we're good moving on. We have an actual foundation. It's cemented almost, right? So I'm like, listen, we're gonna walk to Milwaukee. They're gonna be healthy. They're gonna beat us in 5, and we're gonna be happy that we lost to Milwaukee, who's probably gonna make it to the finals. Like, you know what I mean? Just take it and shut up. There's some interesting things happening in the Milwaukee series, all right? Like, Harrow's out.
I have a quick question, though. Yeah. So I know that we're playing the winner of 1 and 8. So the way the playoffs work, the Heat win, and the Celtics.
There's no reseeding.
There's no reseeding, so that's how it works. Okay. So there's no reseeding. All right, so let's go Heat. Tyler Hero out. Tyler Hero's out. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't want to start thinking about that stuff because we got to get through round 1. But
I'm not thinking ahead. But
start putting your bets down. Knicks in the finals, bro. Give me the Celtics. Let's freaking go, bro. No, but in all seriousness, man, we got a lot of people tuning into the show right now. If you guys could do me a favor, if you're enjoying it, it would be very appreciated to hit that thumbs up button. We got 68 people tuning in live with 29 likes. Let's finish off the show with 50 likes, guys. It would mean a lot to the channel. Shout out to my man John for tuning into the show, man. Love to have you on the channel. So guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button. If you already did, I appreciate you. It means a lot to the channel. But yeah, of course, we're all, as Knicks fans, watching that series. Giannis is down. It's a lower back contusion, so I do expect that to be not prolonged into round 2. And I think the Bucks going to win that series. I don't see them losing. Even though they lost game 1, I see the Bucks coming away with that dub. But anything can happen.
Dude,
right?
If Giannis is not healthy game 2 and the Heat are up 2-0, the entire NBA is on its head. You know, the Eastern Conference is on its head. Jaylen Brown hurt his hand again, but he seems to be okay. The Sixers are the only ones that look good versus, you know, the quote-unquote rival Brooklyn Nets. I mean, it looks like the East is wide open, to be honest with you. So we just have to get through the series. We have to get through Donovan Mitchell. It's almost poetic. It's almost like this is a scripted TV show, not to, you know, bring it back to the scripted stuff from the NFL season. But it feels scripted, right? Like the first team we have to get through in order to even advance is Donovan Mitchell, the guy who is, you know, on our radar. He was in our backyard where, you know, we practiced in his hometown, and now we have to verse him round 1. I mean, it's poetic. It really is.
Dude, it really is poetic. And if we can get through Donovan Mitchell, I don't want to hear anybody, and I'm talking to you, Stephen A. Smith, who is still talking about this nonsense of just bringing up the Donovan Mitchell trade. Still, like, we got him after the Knicks win, still talking about Donovan Mitchell, but if he was on the Knicks, no, but Mitchell would have been with Brunson. And then the people around Stephen A. Smith are like, yeah, but you won with depth, Stephen A. That's how the Knicks won.
That's how the Cavs can't win.
And that's how the Cavs can't win. It's like, bro, relax. I know that this is a star-driven league. And all of a sudden, we're like, oh, we don't have stars? Jalen Brunson wasn't an all-star, but he should have freaking been an all-star. Julius Randle is an all-star. Not an all-star, sorry. A 2-time all-star. So we'll start appreciating what we have. And I'm sorry, I don't want to go on a rant against Stephen A. Smith because I actually think he's very entertaining and I like him, but there's a lot of things about him that Drives me nuts with the Knicks. That he says
he was rocking an orange blazer for game 1 pregame, bro. Just, you know what I mean? He's slowly coming back. He's slowly coming back. We have to welcome back the Knicks fans with open arms. It's okay that we're not.
The receipts are crazy on Twitter, though. I do like that.
Yeah.
Like, Knicks Twitter is so freaking hilarious, bro. They do like every one account, like, what is it? NBA memes is like praising Jalen Brunson, like, oh, Brunson's bargain contract, and you see all the receipts of that account went trolling the Knicks when we signed Jalen Brunson. Oh, the Knicks think he's Luka and all these things. Like, I love Knicks fans because we are the most passionate fan base in the entire planet. I don't want to hear anything else. We are global. We are an icon, and that tells you because we were so bad for so long, and we have so many fans across the world, man. The city deserves this, and I cannot wait to continue to watch this team throughout the NBA playoffs because I think they have something special brewing, man. There's something special in New York, and I'm trying my hardest, John, and you can ground me on this to not get ahead of myself because we still have to get through this series. Well, all we got to do is win 3 more games.
I'm gonna ground you. I'm gonna ground you right now, and it's not great. We got some breaking news from Fred Katz, New York Knicks writer.
Josh Hart out.
Josh Hart is doubtful for game 2 with the sprained left ankle.
All right, let him rest. We got game 3 on Friday. You better be ready for that. Shit, dude.
So we were kind of on point with where this was going. He's not going to get the Obi minutes, right? Back to a conversation we had, in the beginning of this podcast. Not to repeat because it was a little bit more hypothetical. Now it's a little more concrete here. You asked about Deuce McBride. I kind of threw in maybe a small ball lineup. We talked about how IQ and RJ have to step up. Now that it's semi-official, 0.5 agrees with RJ quickly, Grimes got to step up. What are your thoughts here about the Knicks without Josh Hart for game 2?
Well, he was the MVP of the game for me, so this stings. What did we talk about earlier in the stream? Oh, yeah, RJ Barrett. Hey, RJ, the guy that I defend like throughout thick and thin. Freaking this Knicks media channels literally stems off of an RJ Barrett fan page. Like, I need you to step up, my guy. This is your time, bro. This is your time to step up to the plate. There is absolutely no replacing. There's no replacing of Josh Hart. But the way you replace that man is a collective. RJ Barrett is that missing piece. And of course, Emmanuel quickly getting more minutes. You mentioned, maybe they don't throw in Deuce McBride, so let's throw in quickly for more minutes and all those things. But I honestly, I'm on the fence with Deuce, dude. I know you kind of shot that idea down, but Deuce McBride for the, 10 minutes of just defense, pure defense. If Donovan Mitchell's hot, sub him in there. I love Deuce's energy. And I think if we can get him in there, not to replace the minutes and not give quickly his shine, but I think Deuce could get some minutes.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I have no problem with Deuce McBride. I actually love Deuce McBride. It's just, I don't know how he would fit. You maybe throw him on Rubio when he gets in the game and kind of, give, Brunson that little time off. Or, kind of have it. Here's the thing, Rich. It really just depends on if IQ is hot. If IQ is hot, if RJ is hot, they're not sitting down. They're not going anywhere. We don't need Josh Hart. We're not even going to miss it for this one game.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it really just depends on IQ and RJ. We know that Grimes is able to step up on the three-point line, too. I don't really think that has anything to do with Josh Hart per se. Maybe Grimes has to step up in the Josh Hart form. He maybe has to grab a rebound, or he has to get the ball in transition like Josh Hart does, maybe once or twice, make up for it. I mean, I don't mind if McBride comes in the game. I don't see it happening. I see Tibbs happier that we're playing 8 players instead of 9 and not being like, oh my God, we have to find the 9th guy. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I feel you. It's going to be a collective effort from the whole team. And it's only putting Grimes as well. I mean, his defense is really important to this team and his 3-point shooting. If Grimes gets hot, gives you 15, if RJ can get you 20, if Quickly can get you 20, we won't miss Josh Hart as much as we think. So hopefully he's okay for game number 3 because we need him at home because he is the heart and soul, low-key, of that team, especially off the bench. So guys, we're going to wrap up the show here. If you enjoyed the show, please do your boy a favor and hit that thumbs up button. The goal is to get 50 likes. We are 8 likes away from 50. John, thank you so much for tuning in and hopping on the show. I'd love to have you on here. Love to get you on Knicks Media more often for sure. let's freaking go Knicks. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in to Knicks Media. And it's been a lot of fun talking about this team in the playoffs for once. I'm about to make a quick video of my reaction to Josh Hart being doubtful. So stay tuned for that. But John, anything you'd like to say before we finish off the show, my friend?
I'll see you after game 2, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. And I'll see you at game 4 because I'll be at the Garden for that.
I'll see you at game 4. I'll see you at the Chase Lounge before the game. We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen. Folks, hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate all the vibes. Let's go Knicks. Keep the vibes high. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
We out. Let's go Knicks, baby.
Salute.